And good morning, boys and girls and families. You probably recognize this spot in my yard again, and I'm going to do a math lesson from here. And we've been talking a little bit, we've been talking about measuring, okay, how long things are. We've talked a little bit about time indirectly. We should have talked about that more. We have talked about capacity, how much space things take up, okay, and we've been talking a little bit about weight, and we sort of compared things that were big and light and small and heavy, and hopefully you talked at home, sorry, I just have a cobweb, a little bit about why you think they are the way they are. So one of the things we use to measure weight are things called scales, okay, and scales, so if we stand on a scale, it'll tell us how much we weigh, and people that are shipping things, they weigh things. If you go to the post office with a package, the first thing they will do is they will weigh it to tell you how much it is going to cost to ship. So you can also make your own scale, okay, and we're going to make a little balance scale. And I'm just going to make a little simple one, or I've made a little simple one here, and we'll give you a challenge today to try to make your own scale, which is going to be pretty easy, and to try to compare the weight of two different things. So I'm just going to show you what we have here. I'm going to set up there's the iPad, hopefully. Sorry. Okay. Mr. McElroy's having a hard time here. Sorry. There we go. That's not perfect, but we'll work it. Okay. So I have made a simple balance scale here, just using a couple bags. I use clear bags, but you could use whatever bag. And one of the things with the scale is you want to be careful with this part here, okay? You want to have something that doesn't have a lot of friction. So if you're holding it in your hand, that's way too much friction. Now you could just balance it on a finger, which is pretty good. Or I picked something that has less friction. I'm going to use a spoon, okay? So it'll be freer to go back and forth if things are pretty close in weight. So I've picked a few things here that I'm going to compare, and you could try to compare things that you think are going to be way different and see if you're right, or you can pick things that are going to be closer and try to make a guess, which is a bit tougher, okay? So I've picked three pairs of things, okay? So my first thing I'm going to compare are, I have these crackers and I have a box of Jell-O. They're pretty close, okay? And the next thing I have is I have some macaroni, and I have some yummy syrup here, maple syrup. And the next thing that I have is I have some taco shells or a book, okay? So what I'd like you to do, and sadly this is my second take at this because I pressed the stop button by accident, so I'm doing this again. So is to make a guess at which do you think is heavier. So between the Jell-O and the crackers, I just put G for guess down here. I made a little chart up. You don't need to make a chart up, but if you would like to make a chart, you can. Otherwise, just have fun. That's okay. So the Jell-O and the crackers, which are heavier? Just use your little hand scale like this. And when you do them together, I'm going to guess the crackers are a bit heavier, but this is a close one, okay? So I've checked crackers heavier here. Between these two, the macaroni and the syrup, I'm thinking the syrup, I'm not sure. So I'm going to check, or I've already checked, the G there for guess. And between the book and the taco shells, I'm going to guess the taco shells here, and I've checked the box there. So all we need to do now is to use our little homemade balance scale. Remember, I'm going to use something that helps reduce the friction so our scale can be as accurate as possible. And I'm going to put the rice crackers in the bag, and in the other bag I will have this. Now also, when you're making this with your, ooh, wow, I don't know which is heavier. Mine are sometimes things don't work out the way you planned, okay? So I'm saying they're probably, now maybe my scale isn't as good as it could be, but that looks pretty close. I'm gonna call it a tie. That is not the way I wanted this to go, but that's okay. Sometimes you fail in things, and that failure is okay. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna call that a tie. So I'm gonna circle both. It was a tie. All right, let's try our, oh sorry, I was talking about our scale here. If you don't have a hanger that has any hooks on it, you could just tape bags onto the end too, and that's a good way to do it as well. Okay, so we have macaroni. I can put that in there. It's a little bit tougher. And the syrup. Ooh, you can see our scale there. I haven't even used the spoon trick here. And our syrup, let's get this. That is getting heavier, but look at how is our, and of course the camera's on an angle, so hopefully you can tell, but the syrup is definitely heavier than the macaroni. Okay, so pull those out. And last one, we have the taco shells with the book. I think this is going to be a tight one too. This could be a tie because my scale is not perfect, that's for sure. But it will give us a little bit of an idea. So in go the taco shells. Which do you think from home? Taco shells and the mosquitoes are definitely out this morning. Taco shells or book. And I will get my spoon that has less friction. Hopefully you can tell, even though the camera's on an angle, I think the taco shells are heavier. So we had the syrup was heavier. The taco shells were heavier. And we're gonna say it was a tie between the Jell-O and the crackers. Okay, so good luck, families, and hope you have a wonderful day, especially to our birthday girl, Izzy. It's Izzy's birthday today, and I mentioned that in our other video, but she turns that old, 5, which is pretty cool, and I hope Izzy has a very special day. And there's also a special day on the weekend, and that day is Father's Day, okay? So make sure you do something special for a father in your life, and that could be your father, it could be your papa or grandpa, it could be an uncle, okay? Do something special on, that is Sunday for Father's Day, and happy Father's Day, fathers. Thank you for all you've done, and papas and uncles, okay, supporting you kids recently. This has been outstanding what you've done. Hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.